Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back. I am Howard Cosell, also known as Chris Zane.
And I'm Chris Brummer.
Yeah.
No, this is Chad Lee. Thanks
That's
for tuning
Chad
in.
Lee over there. And this is Fringe Fanatics. We are here live and in person yet again.
Oh, yeah. Coming at you.
Enjoying each other's presence.
Like always.
Indubitably.
Yeah.
But here we are. It is episode 74 of Fringe Fanatics. We are creeping ever so much closer to the old 100. The century mark.
Yeah.
You know?
Have to do something cool for that one.
Yeah, we should probably go do another
live episode or something.
Do like a out and about episode maybe.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out how to transport all this stuff.
Well, we could probably still do it with my laptop, but it would just be a little bit more ghetto. But you know, we could probably
We'll look
still swing
into it.
it.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
is what it is.
We've been needing to go to a Nuggets game.
That's true. We'll just go hang out in the parking lot and hope they let us in.
Yeah.
You know?
Miracle ticket. Come on.
But it is episode 74, and that means we are honoring Merlin Olsen.
Yep.
He was an American football player, of course, announcer and actor, and for his entire 15-year career, he was a defensive tackle with the Los Angeles Rams. He was selected to play in the Pro Bowl 14 times every year but his last. The only other football players to have matched or exceeded that number are the former offensive lineman Bruce Matthews, who we almost chose for this one, also number 74. Former tight end Tony Gonzalez, quarterback Peyton Manning, and, of course, Mr. Tom Brady, who is the only NFL player to have played in more Pro Bowls with 15 selections.
Wow.
Good old Tommy B.
No, Merlin, aside from him, and just a
cool name.
Cool name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Played for the Rams and won the NFC West crown in 1973 through 76, thanks in part to the play of Olsen. They ranked first in the NFL in run defense in 1973 and 74, and finished second in sacking opposing passers both years.
Yeah.
I heard that he was a part of the Fearsome Foursome.
Yeah, that's with Deacon Jones, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Good old Deacon.
Yeah, a bunch of good, and then Rosie Greer, and then Lamar Lundy.
Lundy.
Yeah.
The Lundy.
Hell of a D-line back then.
Yeah, he also received the Outland Trophy in 1961, awarded to the best lineman of the year in college football. He's also a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the College Football Hall of Fame. As an actor, he portrayed Farmer Jonathan Garvey on Little House on the Prairie.
Wow.
After leaving that series, he starred in his own NBC drama, Father Murphy.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I'll
he's
be there.
a regular old Renaissance man.
Man of
you
many
know?
talents.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people in the 70s and most of the 80s will also remember him as the color commentator next to Dick Enberg on NBC's coverage of the AFC during those decades.
Wow.
So he's done it all.
Our elderly listeners might remember him.
Yeah, my dad probably knows Merlin Olsen very well.
That's cool. That's pretty badass, honestly.
My dad still likes to do the turn out the lights, the party's over, which is from Dandy Don Meredith.
Oh, yeah.
From Monday Night Football.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's what he would say when the game was over.
Damn.
Yeah, so
That's fucking
we
cool.
might have to get that drop.
Yeah, that'd be pretty badass. An old school drop.
I did want to mention, we'll cut over to Chad, we have the assistant to the assistant coach over here from KU.
That's right. Gifted from Dave.
Yeah. The manager at work gave Chad a sweet little, I don't know where he found that, but it's cool
he
as
went
shit.
to Lawrence, and then he got a tour of the KU football stadium. And then there's the guy, that I think a dean or something, that like worked for the stadium, and Dave mentioned that how he has a coworker that's KU fan, and then the guy was like, "Oh, sweet," and just loaded him up with all this shit. So,
oh, nice.
With KU playing so bad right now, I figured I'd try to dress as a coach. Maybe they'll let me step in there, try to help.
Yeah,
them
let's get into it this weekend. Before we hung out actually on Saturday, but before I came over, you text me and you're like, "Yeah, we're gonna be home soon." KU just lost by 30.
Dude, it was awful. Yeah. So we were. I took her to Colorado Mills Mall. We had a good time. Got some new shoes.
Walked
and
around in a
did
circle.
the whole thing. Yeah, it was.
Yep.
It's basically what it is. It's like a track circle. Yeah. But it's definitely I like going to that one because it's not like going to Cherry Creek or one of like the Southland or Park Meadows where I feel really out of place there. You know, I'm not going to go shop at Birkenbag or whatever.
Yeah, Birkenstock,
whatever the fuck they are.
There used to be a guy who did caricatures there that would sit out there in one of the kiosks.
Oh, no shit.
And one time for Christmas, me and Andrew got my parents' wedding photo and had the guy. You probably seen it.
I saw that photo. Yeah,
that's where that's from. Yeah. So we
funny.
had the guy like draw my parents in the wedding photo, and then like we stood there, and then he drew us in the wedding photo.
That's
with
nuts
him.
because I remember seeing that photo, that picture when I went over for Thanksgiving. I was like, "What the hell is this, man? That's fucking random. That's a good
It's
idea.
Super random." But we had a weird thing with caricature artists. I mean, I have Andrew tattooed on my lower back.
That's right.
From the caricature artist that used to be at Casa Bonita.
Oh wow!
We went to Casa Bonita to get that drawn
That's a perfect
up.
photo to like
Yeah.
use for that, man. I mean, you know, it's love.
He was like, "If I pay for you to get my face tattooed on you, will you do it?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Can't argue with that.
And then we were like, "Well, what should we do?" And then we went to Casa Bonita, had lunch, got it drawn, and then went and got it tattooed.
That's fucking awesome. That sounds like a great afternoon.
Yeah, it was fun.
Fuck
So
yeah, man.
that's how you bond, you know. And then he got me tattooed on his side, riding his standard poodle out of the gates of hell with the devil's head on a trident.
Damn, well, that's even
With
more
my shirt
badass.
off and
That's
short shorts.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah, his is a lot cooler, but we put a lot more thought into his.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to your story. You went to the Colorado Mills Mall, and then you went where?
We just went shopping around, and that's all. Basically, on the way home, I was like following the KU game, and they lost by 30, and so it was just really the come to Jesus moment that this is definitely not KU's year. You know, they've had 8 conference losses this year. That was kind of a bummer, but regardless. Still a fan, still drinking out of a new shot glass. This is the 1929 logo. Look at that.
Oh, dude, that's sweet.
Isn't that fucking cool, man? I
Is
wish
cool.
they'd go back to it. He's like, looks all mean and shit.
Yeah, he
But-
looks like he's gonna fight, dude. It looks like the old Notre Dame logo.
It does a little bit like he's gonna put up
the
fists and
Dukes.
shit, right? But
Juice-
we watched the fight Saturday night, and that was a good time. Those were really good fights. And then I appreciate you coming by. That was
we
cool.
hung out. I was working on the show a little bit, and then I came down and
Got some progress
watched
done.
some. I hope to get more done, but then I realized I'm learning a fucking new program, so
That ain't easy.
it takes a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll have all that shit uploaded. I had my little nephew Jason. He's not really little anymore. He's like 27 years old, but
Not quite little.
he does a whole bunch of like 3D modeling and stuff, and he's gonna do a new like spinning 3D logo. So we'll have a bunch of that shit implemented next week. But that's the plan now. But the fights were good. And then I left and went home, and then that Sugar Sean fight was fucking epic.
Awesome, man.
It was a real good fight.
He just put on a clinic. It was an absolutely, just mauling that he did to Cheeto. And then, you can't give too much credit to Sean because for Cheeto to stand in there and take that punishment, that just says a lot. I think he's going to be a #1 contender for a while.
That knee to his face literally sounded like
He
a
broke his
bat
face.
hit his face. Like
Yeah.
it was like whack.
I haven't seen,
wow.
dude, when they played, I think in between rounds, the live sound, you hear it just such a smack, man.
Dude.
And for him just to take it, didn't phase him
even,
at all.
It didn't even wobble him,
No.
dude. He just stood back up and kept coming. I
He's
was
a
like,
different
oh my
animal,
God.
man. Yeah.
There was a picture I saw in between rounds of him, and he just spit out like so much blood from his mouth. So
shit.
who knows what was
Yeah, he
broken
took
up in
a
his
beating.
face? But
I really want to know if he broke that orbital bone right there from that knee because it had to have because that cut came right after.
yeah, it was wild. But it was a good set of fights.
Yeah, it was a really good card. The next day, we got repotted some plants, did some shit around the
Nice.
house, and then cooked up some steaks in the evening. It was a good time.
Nice. Yeah, a little Sunday steak down.
Exactly. It's good to end, I think, the weekend with a barbecue. It's just the right way to go.
Yeah, I can see that. Makes sense. Yeah.
That's the way I like to do it. What about you? How was your weekend?
Well, it was pretty good. We pretty much spent most of it together, me and you. Well, at least Saturday. And then Sunday we went and we're doing that like estate sale thing. So I was out there, estate sailing it up,
Yeah.
slanging things,
Yeah, you guys, you did pretty good, right?
Yeah, we made a pretty good amount of money.
That's fucking sweet.
So that was cool. And then we're going to do it one more time next week on Saturday. And then Sunday we're going to kind of do like the overflow, like probably just like come and take what you want.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple I guess like Facebook groups where like these families, it's like families in need type thing, and you just post on there and they'll come take a bunch of stuff.
So, that's cool.
Yeah,
I never knew shit like that.
Me either.
That's
So
awesome.
we'll probably be doing that.
Nice, helping out those in need.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
that's
then,
right.
But yeah, it was pretty busy. I mean, that was like a 12-hour day.
Yeah,
we didn't get home till like 6.
Jesus.
And then Saturday was fun though. We got to do a bunch of shit and just hang out.
Yeah.
And I didn't do much during the day except try and work on the show and stuff, and then came over here. And then we're here.
It all comes full circle, man.
Yep, we're back at it.
Yep, ready to take another shot.
Yes, sir. So cheers to you. Cheers to episode 73, and cheers to all of you.
74.
Oh, 74.
Yeah,
I just went back in time.
You did.
Yeah,
no,
I pulled a U last week.
Man. I know.
Forward, onward and upward.
Onward.
74. So cheers.
To you guys.
Woo. Well,
that'll put hair on your chest.
If you haven't yet and you've made it this far, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. And if you're watching or listening to us after the fact, make sure to subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and also leave a little review.
Yeah, please do.
The review helps a lot.
Yep, share it, whatever you got to do.
Share it. Yeah, sharing it helps immensely. So
yeah.
But we got a new guest on tonight, Chris, aka Ruff from Timeout Sports Podcast. So he'll be coming on here in just a second.
Yeah.
We're ahead again.
Yeah, we're a little early. We'll just give you a little bit of a rundown. I feel like we could probably call it around 6:15.
Yeah.
So I found this guy. I started listening to his stuff. He's out of DC. He has been doing a podcast. It looks like he's kind of taking a break from that, but we'll ask him kind of like what he's got going on, all kind of different irons in the fire. But I still follow him on Facebook, and man, he just like is on top of everything. Like how you'll post like videos, and
we try.
Yeah. I mean, it's like almost immediately. Like if LeBron goes off or something like that, he'll have a good video or, a good reaction to it. Just stays up to date on all different types of sports, mainly NBA and NFL, women's college basketball and different college basketball. But really on top of it. It was really good to see somebody that, just nice to get a different feed rather than your typical Barstool or ESPN or something like that. So give him a follow.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure to give him a like and a follow on all things social media as well, because, we got to keep spreading the love,
Yep, that's right.
It's absolutely right. So let's give him a call. It's 6:13. You think he's going to be ready?
Yeah, we'll see. If not, we can...
we'll give him a call and see what happens.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's do it, dude.
We can always go into some headlines if not.
Yeah, we'll give him a jingle right now. Here we go. It's very loud.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Oh, we have the headphones up. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's up? Is this Ruff?
Yes.
What's up, man? This is Chris Zane with the Fringe Fanatic Sports Podcast, and Chad Lee's here with me as well. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty good. How are y'all?
Pretty good, man.
Doing good. Sorry, man. I know we're calling just a little bit earlier. I hope we're not interrupting you or inconveniencing too much, but we really appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Nice. So if you don't mind, give the listeners a little bit of a rundown of, like, I guess, like your background and like what got you into sports media.
Well, I'm a college graduate. I attended college at Winston-Salem State University, HBCU in North Carolina.
Nice.
I took up communications in college, so it's always kind of been a passion of mine. I wasn't a great athlete myself, partly due to height, I would say, only about 5'7", but I do enjoy playing sports, and I've always enjoyed watching and even studying it, on a higher level.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I took up what I took in school, like I said, communications and media. And when I was in college, I started off with a radio show on campus. And then when I graduated, I transitioned to a podcast form. Started off as actually me and two other guys, two of my other friends, and then it just branched out to being just me a few years ago. And ever since then, I just kind of stayed with it. I think last year was a huge year for me. the Facebook account went from 5,000 followers at the start of 23 to now, I think it was at 31 start of 2024.
Dang.
So
Wow, man. Yeah, I knew it was up there, but I didn't realize it was that much. That's awesome.
yeah, so it's like I said, it's a passion of mine. It has been for a while. I try to attend games when I can. NBA, WNBA. I got a chance to go to my first WNBA game last year.
Oh, cool. Who'd you check out?
The Atlanta Dream versus the LA Sparks.
Nice.
Cool. Nice.
So, yeah, I don't know if you know about that, but I also have another page dedicated to the WNBA called WNBA Lead Fits, and that page simply highlights the fashion, like their pregame fits and things that they wear.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a rundown of me. Outside of sports, I enjoy working out, hanging out with family, and
I hear that, man. Nice. Well, I got a lot of respect for you, man, because you stuck with it, and yeah, you've got a huge following on there. I've checked out the podcast. It looks like, do you still put out episodes for the podcast?
So I've been on a break for the podcast itself, been just kind of focusing on just putting out the content as far as like on the social media accounts. I'm probably going to start back in a week or so. Going to try to do some interviews myself with some players, maybe college athletes and even some professionals. I don't know if you got a chance to look way back, but I have got a chance over time to interview a decent amount of people from Ward Dunn.
Oh, wow.
To Trevor Booker, used to play in the league. Daryl Armstrong. So yeah, I'm going to be looking to get back into it in the near future. Probably starting with some interviews.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's hard, honestly. Like just with the amount of information coming out in sports alone, just to be able to keep up with it in the social media world it's almost like a full-time job in and of itself. Let alone just having a podcast too. So I totally get taking a break and focusing on that, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I was mentioning earlier, like you are dedicated to it, man, because I've noticed like since I started following you, I mean, there could be a big NBA game tonight and you're going to have coverage of it, right afterwards. So I got a lot of respect for that. You're on top of it.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what it takes when when I started this, I wanted it to become big and I still wanted to reach new levels, really every day, but definitely over, like a 3-month span, I kind of have goals. And so that's what it takes when you want anything in life to really flourish. You got to put in that constant work. So that's what it's about for me, taking a passion and trying to make it something that can also, help pay bills. So.
Damn right. Yeah, exactly. That is our goal too, man. I hear that.
Trying to make a little bit of money,
Yep. Well, all right, let's get into it, man. I see you're from D.C. and you say you're a Commanders fan. I got to ask, the draft's coming up here next month. How do you feel about the Commanders, where they're at right now, possibly drafting Drake May? What do you think they're going to do?
So I'm actually from North Carolina, not too far from D.C.
Okay.
North Carolina. But yeah, Drake May, I got to be honest, I don't want them to draft him. I think, and I can be honest and say I think it's partly a little bit of bias because I'm a Duke fan. And also the fact that, we had Sam Howell, who was out of Carolina as well, and he has not panned out.
Yeah,
so it's like I want to go in a different direction. You had mentioned Caleb Williams earlier. I want Caleb Williams, but I think how it's looking now, it looks like he may end up in Chicago because they might look to get rid of Justin Fields.
Yeah, I
So,
heard the Raiders are kind of sniffing around Justin now. So
yeah, so they have the number 1 pick, so they can move Justin and get Caleb, which wouldn't make me happy, but it looks like that might happen. If it does, like I said, I would prefer Jaden Daniels over May.
Yeah, I think that would be much more dynamic. Just with his running ability and the way he was passing last year. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. I think that would be the way to go. I mean, when I look at Drake May, I've heard he's pretty accurate, but to me, it's like the same risk that the Giants took on a guy like Daniel Jones. No offense with him being a Duke guy. It just didn't really kind of pan out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Daniel has not panned out, no doubt about it.
what do you think about like the Commanders possibly trying to offer up a trade to the Bears to take that #1 spot? Because I learned recently, I wasn't aware of this, that Caleb is a DC kid. That's where he's from. So I mean, I think that would maybe be beneficial for the Commanders to bring him in, have that hometown crowd there, maybe make him a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely is from DC, so that's a factor. And I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but when he did like a media, I think it was about a week or two ago, they kind of asked him about DC, about the Commanders, and he didn't come out and say he wanted to go there, but he had a little bit of a smirk that kind of hinted at the fact that he would rather be there than other places for sure. So I think a trade is always possible, but for me, it's still a business. I think, you know, you're only moving up one spot. So how much are you willing to trade? You know, because teams like Chicago, they feel like they're going to be in the driver's seat, catbird seat, and they might try to fleece you.
Yeah, and even just to move up one spot, they totally could. Yeah, I mean, they could ask a lion's share of picks just for moving up one spot. I am definitely interested to see. Could we possibly see another like Eli Manning situation where he's just like, nah, I'm not going to go to Chicago. You know, like that's what Eli did with the Chargers back in the day. And that's how Phillip Rivers ended up there. It would be very interesting to see because there has been some things coming out from Williams' camp that they didn't want to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of interest into what Chicago was going to do in terms of what they were going to do. So it would definitely be interesting because with the a couple key additions the Commanders made this year, I mean, Austin Eckler coming there, you get Zach Ertz, and then they kind of shored up the offensive line, getting Tyler Biadasz from the center. I could just definitely see someone like Caleb Williams going there, and like actually you guys would have a pretty dynamic offense.
Yeah, that's the thing. Terry McLaurin is the guy I'm really big on. I still think that he's a really good player. He may not be what he was a couple of years ago because he's getting old. I think he's about 30, somewhere around there. So I don't know that he's still in his peak as in his prime, but I think he's still a very good player. And they underutilized him last year. They just couldn't give him the football. And so I think that a guy like Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams could definitely, get him back to Pro Bowl caliber, being a Pro Bowl caliber player.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz, I don't know about that pickup. Zach Ertz 3 years ago, okay. But I mean, the dude is 33, I think. 33 or 34, I mean. Yeah.
That's a stretch.
See, I hope we don't think he's, no bona fide tight end one at this point. That might be just a kind of safety blanket. Somebody can come in and get you 2 or 3 catches a game, maybe big catches, but I definitely would still be trying to draft somebody or look somewhere else, in free agency.
I think that's definitely a possibility. Like you mentioned, I've been really high on Scary Terry over these last couple of years as well. Not like you said, more so a little bit in the past. But, I mean, yeah, you got to look at who was throwing on the ball or who couldn't throw on the ball. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Commanders led the league, and Sam Howell did, in sacks taken. I mean, I want to say it was like probably over 50 or something, right?
Yeah. I think they ended up second. I might have been first, but for the first, especially like the first 12 weeks, it was terrible.
Yeah, I think they were up there. He was getting a beating all year long. So you think about how many of those possibly, in the future could, have been avoided, and then a guy like Caleb Williams could be throwing it deep to Scary Terry. And I mean, you still got you don't really have Curtis Samuel because he's free agent. I'm a Chiefs fan myself. That's the free agent that I'm hoping the Chiefs go after. Curtis Samuel, man, he's been balling out for him. The way he runs those jet sweeps, you can get him the ball in a 5-yard slant, and he's so good at yards after catch. That's a tough one to let go.
Got to get that yak.
Yeah, I agree. Curtis Samuel, I was hard on him that first year we got him because he was injury prone. He didn't do nothing that first year. But since then, he's did some good things. And so I think, but I agree with you. I think he ends up leaving. So we're going to have to look to replace him potentially.
Yep.
How many draft picks do the Commanders have this year? Do you know off the top of your head?
I do not. Let me see. I can find that really quick.
I'll also look.
I'm sure it's probably around 7 or something. Maybe they got a compensatory.
They've got number 2, number 36, number 40 from Chicago.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, you've got 4 picks in the second and third round. You got 2 in the second, 2 in the third. I mean, you can get some really good wide receiver help there. I mean, you can really build a decent, get a decent little core of guys from those picks right there alone.
Yeah, and you still got free guys and free agency that's available. I wouldn't be opposed to a guy like Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown. If you lose Curtis,
he's fast.
Him, but he might want a kind of rich contract. So again, we can't afford to make moves paying people over what they deserve, and that's what I've been pleased by in this first day or so. I haven't seen a contract that I can look at and say, "Wow, they overpaid."
What do you think about Michael Pittman's? If you don't mind, we're gonna shifting from the Commanders real quick, because I think that's a good topic, because that's pretty much been the only contract that I've been a little surprised by. Michael Pittman has been playing well, but I think he got a deal where it's almost like $25 million a year.
Yeah, so it was 71.5, so that's
$46 million guaranteed.
Yeah, for a guy that he's decent, but would you put him in the top 10? He's probably got to be making top 10, top 15 money now.
Michael Pittman Jr., I'm high on him. I really am. I think I don't know if he's top 10, but he's definitely a top 15 receiver, and it's the market. You got to realize, like I talk about in the NBA, sometimes we'll look at a player that's making 35 or 40 million and be like, wow, how did he get there? He's not that good. But, it's just the market. They're paying everybody at this point. If you are good, you can command a good contract. So I'm not mad at that Pittman contract. And you got to realize this, too. His quarterback play is like Terry Malone. It has not been great overall.
That's very true.
He got hurt with concussion in the shoulder. So
he was hurt all of the games he played. It's like the first game he got a concussion. It's like,
so I think Pittman that's not a bad deal for him. I really do, because I don't know if it is top. It might be top 10 right now, but there's some more people coming down the pipe that's going to surpass that. I think the highest paid is about 30 or 31 million. So they're handing out money to receivers.
Yeah, I think Justin Jefferson could be getting like 35 plus.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But the big surprise this year was the running backs. But the one last thing I got to say about Michael Pittman, anybody who can survive a hit like he took in that Steelers game deserves whatever amount of money you
forgot
want
about
to
that.
give him.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact he wasn't dead after that, I was like, oh, my God.
That was a pretty rough run.
Oh, but let's change gears a little bit. You are a Heat fan, is that correct?
Miami Heat, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're Nuggets fans here, so we got a little bit of beef there, I guess, probably. But I did want to ask you one question about the Heat. Currently Miami is in the 8th seed in the East, and last year they did make it all the way to the finals as a play-in team. Do you think playoff Jimmy can repeat that and drag them back to the promised land again this year, or is it going to be too much to overcome in the East?
Yeah, man, it's hard to rule out the Miami Heat because they just understand how to turn it on. I don't know what it is really. Mm-hmm. Besides culture, and coaching, they have a good
Heat culture.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think it's asking a lot this year when you talk about, the teams like the Celtics who are playing well, the Bucks. They, since getting Doc Rivers, their defense has really improved, which is important. You got to look at New York. If they can be healthy, they have a lot. They have pieces that can score, defend, rebound, all of the above. Philadelphia, can Joel Embiid get back and be healthy? If he can, they're going to be a factor, a threat. So I think right now I would not be confident at all in the Miami Heat making it back to the finals, even the Eastern Conference Finals, because I just don't like what I've seen. Tyler Hero is in and out the lineup. Jimmy Butler, he coached a lot, and at some point it might just be that he's not the same player. He's not young either. So I'm not really high on him right now. Bam Adebayo, I'm disappointed in how he's played lately, especially. I posted on the Timeout Sports Twitter page that he's averaging 16 points over the last, I think it was 6 games, and they've only 2-4 in those games. So
that says a lot there.
It's like, and his finishing around the rim is still gives me questions. And you got to be able to finish those plays. Those easy buckets, those easy opportunities, you got to take advantage of. So to make a long answer short, I would say I do not have a lot of confidence in the Miami Heat being even an Eastern Conference Finals team this year.
I mean, if they make it there, you got to go ahead and say that all that $120 million they're paying Eric Spoelstra is well worth it, because that guy is one hell of a coach if he can pull it off, getting them all the way back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is just like in between, Milwaukee and the Heat, the Pacers, the Sixers, the Magic, the Knicks, I feel like those teams I wouldn't be too worried about if I was the Heat, but the Cavaliers this year have been one of those teams that are just like super surprising in the way that they've just keep winning and the way they're beating teams. So I could definitely see them being a little bit of, a hiccup for the Heat, but it's just like the Celtics and the Bucks are about it in the East, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention the Cavs. I forgot all about them really in that moment. But yeah, they have the pieces too. It comes down to, it's hard to even predict these days because there's so much turnaround, so much injuries. People that's out right now that could be back. I mean, like a team like New York, Mitchell Robinson is even expected to potentially be back. And so he can add something to that team from a rebounding and a defensive perspective. So I just think that, it's a lot of teams. I mean, you named, I guess, two that you feel like are really better than Miami. But as you said, the Cavs too. So I'm looking at, like I said, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Cavs, and Knicks, and even the Sixers. So you got a strong five that they're gonna have to really battle with, and I just don't see it. I think they got to be more consistent. I think Kevin Love, he's in and out the lineup. This should be his last year.
I would say so. Yeah, I was really surprised to see. He actually had a decent finals last year, from what I can remember.
Yeah,
he did all right, but he doesn't have a whole lot of that left in the tank. I agree. Yeah, but I mean, I appreciate the honest take. We've all been there. I'm a Jayhawk fan myself, and I've said the same thing before we started recording. I said, this is not our year.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to admit it.
Yeah, just hope for next year.
You don't get the respect of people, whether you're a fan or not, just being biased. I've never wanted that to be, what people think of me. Yeah.
I can respect that, definitely.
I'm a Broncos fan, so I'm used to sucking right now. I'm just like living in it, just the world is suck.
Yeah, I hope that y'all don't prosper, because I don't respect how Sean Payton did Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I agree, man.
I don't really either. We could spend an hour just going over that alone, but I hope Russell, the funniest thing would be if he goes to the Steelers and just starts dominating. Yep. And then you could throw that back in Peyton's face. But, I mean, if he goes there and he isn't, if he is what he had been for the Broncos, then I guess Sean Payton's right. And what can you do there? But I agree. The way it was handled was not dealt with well at all. And now the Broncos are paying him $38 million to play for the Steelers.
Pretty wild there. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to see what happens next year. It's going to look like a whole different NFL next year. I think I was going to say that we should probably title this episode maybe like the musical chairs of the NFL. Everybody moving around so much.
Yeah, and it's been strange because you normally see a lot of movement, but it's a lot of division rivals. I mean, you got people going from the Ravens to the Steelers and
yeah, Patrick
Cowboys,
Queen, yep.
Cowboys and from Giants to the Eagles. I mean, it's like they're going to what we normally say is the ops.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Well, I think this year just goes to prove that, like, obviously it's been this way for a while, but loyalty to teams is dead. I mean, aside from Chris Jones, he might be like one of the last NFL players to play his entire career for one team. I
could imagine Aaron Donald will probably have to settle for 1 or 2 years on the last team if he doesn't retire. He's talked about retiring early, but yeah, you just don't see it these days anymore. But I think the Giants, I mean, talk about with Barkley going to Philly, with you being a Commanders fan, I would definitely be worried about that. I think if they could get their offense figured out even slightly a little bit better than next year, that's going to be a little scary.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like that move at all. There's no doubt. I didn't like that at all.
Hated it.
Yeah, I wasn't as upset, though, because I still think, the Commanders are your way, definitely, depending on what moves they can make. I don't even think a Caleb Williams alone would help them really be better than the Eagles. So I'm not looking at it like, I think that we can really contend. But I would like to see them be, a whole lot better than they were last year. And maybe squeaking into the playoffs. But, there's a difference between squeaking into the playoffs and being a national contender.
Yeah.
And, I have those hopes.
Perfect example with the Texans last year. Nobody expected that. And then, they actually win a playoff game, which surprised everybody. But then, they got brought back down to earth against the Ravens.
Well, the Texans had so many injuries. I mean, you got to realize they're supposed to beat them. I mean, you had what's my guy, Tank Dell was out.
Torn Achilles, I think, right?
Yeah, what's the other receiver was hurt? They had a couple. Noah Brown, I think, missed that game.
Yeah, Noah Brown was dealing with injuries there towards the end. So they were definitely
you asked for a lot with a rookie quarterback and a rookie coach. But I'm gonna tell you this: their future is bright.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. So I wish that it was the Broncos situation right now, because I'd be like, hey, we thought we were going to suck, and look at us. We won a playoff game.
Yeah. Yeah. They're playing with house money now there with CJ Stroud. And I mean, I thought D'Amico Ryan should have definitely gotten coach of the year. So I think
absolutely.
They built that defense a lot through free agency. They actually just signed Daniil Hunter today to replace Gernard. So I think that team's going to be a real dark horse.
Did you see his deal? It's $49 million for 2 years, 48 guaranteed.
Wow. All the $1 million.
Just say it's 48. Why just the $1 million?
Negotiation tactic. But man, we could talk about NFL for a while. But if you got any more time, I definitely want to. You covered the NCAA women's basketball a lot. I wanted to get just to pick your brain a little bit about that if you got some extra time.
Yeah, we can wrap up with that.
Cool. So this year, I don't think I can name, aside from KU, because that'd be easy, I don't think I can name 5 stars. You got Zach Edey, Connect from Tennessee, and I start to draw a blank and try to reach for names. In women's college basketball, it's insane right now. You got Juju Watkins coming up, Angel Reese. You got all the girls on South Carolina. Then, of course, the big star of them all, Caitlin Clark. I mean, dude, I just want to get your take on it. I mean, what a great time for women's college basketball right now. Then you got the fight the other night.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we got that. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, women's college basketball is definitely great right now. And it's like that because of how the WNBA is. And like I said, I'm a supporter of that league. I want it to be able to flourish at a higher level. But being that they don't have as many spots and they're not making the salaries that they deserve, you're seeing people stay in college longer. So that's how you're able to have such names and have such, chemistry with the fans, because you get to see them for so many years, and you get to really grow that bond as a supporter of them. But what I will say is, yeah, like I said, college women's basketball is great. I actually got a chance to meet Flaje Johnson for LSU. I'm a fan of her.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I met her last year. Got a picture and everything.
That's
so
awesome.
She was really cool. And I've been following her since the rap game days. I don't know.
I was going to say, did you get a shout out in a song or anything? Because I know she's rapping nowadays.
Oh, no. But the rap game TV show by Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah.
That she was on as when she was like 12. And so I've been following. I mean, I was watching her on that show. So it was a full circle for me to be able to meet her, really humble young lady. And I'm impressed by her growth this year on the court. We know what happened with that skirmish, but she has improved, on the court as a leader and a player. So I'm impressed by that. And as far as the other ladies, I mean, like you said, it's a lot of great players. I mean, we know what Caitlin Clark is doing is special. You haven't really ever seen it before. Juju as a freshman, I mean, her sky's the limit for her.
It is.
I think that thing I'm looking for though is what is it gonna look like when she has more around her? Because I think it's not a winning recipe to be taking 32 shots, 30 shots, and sometimes she's inefficient. It's because she's just stacking up so many shots. So I want them to put more pieces around her so we can see if she really is a winning level player. Will she be able to facilitate and do those things to win games? Who else? Angel Reese, she's special. she is somebody that I hope to be able to interview one day soon.
Then you got
She's,
Paige Beckers too on UConn. You know, everybody kind of forgets about UConn. I mean, they're all over the place. But the team that I'm really looking at, and it's the obvious favorite. It looks like South Carolina really can't be stopped right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, South Carolina, and that's what I was getting ready to get into because you we talked earlier about that.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be my prediction? I think that it's just hard to overtake South Carolina. I mean, Dawn Staley's great. She's a great coach, a great leader of women. You know, her response to the scuffle, to the fight was great. And they have such a solid team overall. They're not top heavy. You know, a lot of teams are top heavy. They just they got about 3 or 4 good players, and then when it gets to the bench, that's the problem I think with LSU. I don't know if they have enough pieces. They can't put a strong 8 or 9 out there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with South Carolina. They have those 3 or 4 people off the bench that can produce. And another thing I look at in sports is the fact that can you beat teams in multiple ways? If you're just a 3-point shooting team, the night you cold, you're going to lose.
Look at the Celtics. You're right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you can't shoot nothing but paint shots, I mean, sometimes you might get down 10, 12 points and need to be able to make three
Can't
to
come
get
back.
back in.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I look at. How many ways can you win? Can you win in a variety of ways? And South Carolina can do that. So I think they're going to be tough to beat. I really do.
Yeah. And Dawn Staley's got so much experience there. She's always taken that team to the Final Four. I'm not sure on the stats, but I mean, I want to say like she's had them in the Final Four at least I think 3 out of the last 4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they've only lost 3 games in the last 3 years. 3
Exactly.
total games. But
yeah, it's impressive. I totally hear you, man. But
before we let you get out of here, I did want to ask one more thing to parlay it back into the WNBA because I didn't realize that was kind of one of your avenues that you're pretty in the know of. With Caitlin Clark probably going to the Fever, #1 overall, with the Las Vegas Aces being the first WNBA team to sell out season tickets, what's something else that you're looking forward to this WNBA season that I guess maybe somebody who isn't, all the way into the WNBA yet might not be expecting?
yeah, it's just those new names. Some of those new names. How will it pan out? Where will they go? I'm interested in just seeing the league continue to grow. Like I said, overall, I thought that they made a lot of great progress last year. And people tell me they give me some credit for that, because like I said, with the League Fits page, it had some, viral moments. People look forward to seeing that. And I just think that, the more people talk about the league, the better it'll be. So I'm interested in seeing what improvements the WNBA can make this year when it comes to media.
Yeah.
When it comes to, really marketing the players. Because I think, like I said, sometimes people don't realize in life, you support the story of people, the individuals, not just their talent.
Exactly.
So they can do a job of bridging the gap and making people, see those ladies for more than just the athlete. I think that they'll be on the road to really, getting where they need to be. And I'm interested in seeing not this year, but that new team that's coming.
Yeah,
I really hope I hope that in the next 5 years they can have 2 to 4 new teams. That's a goal of mine.
I hope so too. Yeah.
We were kind of bummed when, all the expansion talk was happening, and it seemed like Denver might be one of the final, teams or final cities to, wind up with a team. I was really hoping it would happen just to be. When we started our podcast last year, I was like, oh man, that'd be kind of cool to have like a local team like coming into fruition as we're, starting the podcast or in the early beginnings of it. And, obviously we didn't get that, but like you said, hopefully in the next couple of years we might have another opportunity to get an expansion team here. And I'm just happy to see stuff like the NBA kind of more or less taking the WNBA under their wing a little bit. I think the whole Sabrina Ionesco and Steph thing was really good for the WNBA. I think next year, why not have Steph, Caitlin Clark, and Sabrina all out there doing it? For all we know, Sabrina might outshoot Steph.
Yeah.
Or Caitlin, who knows?
I agree. That was good for both parties, especially the WNBA.
That's
all it is. Really
Go ahead,
kind
sorry.
of, no, that's all it is. It's really just kind of taking them, but putting them beside you and, showing people that it's cool to watch women's sports. Because a lot of people, I see a lot of sexist men that are having derogatory comments, and I'm not a fan of that. So if you really take the time to watch the WNBA, the games are interesting.
I totally agree, man. If you know, I'm sure you probably see it, but Michael Wilbon is one of the biggest advocates for the WNBA. There's a lot of time on PTI. They bring up what they're going to watch that night, and one option could be a soccer game or something maybe in the offseason of the NFL that might just kind of be a little mid, and then, he'll always be like, no, I'm going to watch the Aces and Liberty. Are you kidding me? This is obvious.
Yeah, he's an advocate, and I respect that a lot.
Yeah, it helps. It definitely does.
Well, C-Ruff, man, we'll let you get out of here. We've had you on here for long enough. I'm sure you've got stuff to do on your Tuesday night. We really appreciate all your insight.
Yes, thank you.
Definitely stoked to get a WNBA insight, so we will definitely be reaching back out to you if you would like to come back on to talk more about that, and as well, the Commanders and the Heat as we get more into the playoffs. But, man, we appreciate you coming on, and if you guys haven't yet, make sure to go check out the Timeout Sports Podcast featuring C. Ruff here, and we hope you have a good rest of the night, man. Thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
No problem at all. Now, how would people be able to listen to this, my supporters?
I will share a link and tag you in it. We're doing the live stream right now on Twitch, and then tomorrow I will have it put out on all things streaming, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff, as well as on our YouTube channel. So I will make sure to tag you in all of that stuff tomorrow when we roll out all the social media stuff. And if you share it on your page, man, that would be great. We would greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, you all have a great rest of your night.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you
man.
do the same, man. Thanks again.
All right. Take care.
We appreciate you, man. Have a good one. Good night, man. All right, man. C. Ruff coming on.
That was great, man. What a good insight.
No, I was definitely interested in the WNBA stuff because, like I said, man, I was a little bit bummed when we missed out on that team. I was like, fuck, that would have been cool, like, especially if we could have got in on, like, the ground level. Like, yo, we'll talk about you all the time.
And, dude, we've been talking about it. We've been trying to get one of the players for the CU women's basketball on because, I mean, I think last I checked, I want to say it was 11th. They've been ranked around that. But, I mean, they're good.
At one point, they were second.
So we may not have a WNBA team, but at least we got a damn good women's team. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
We always, some people, like C. Ruff mentioned, it's kind of a fringe thing. There's a lot of obstinance to women's sports.
Yep.
And it was cool to have him on and get his insight and also see that I didn't even think about it, like there's so much to do made about like what the guys wear to the games. Didn't even know. Didn't even really think about what the women are wearing.
I've seen some of it that he posts, man. And
that's our ignorance.
They look pretty awesome. I'm just going to say that.
Well,
Yep, it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah,
they know what to wear. Their fits on point.
So, I think it was WNBA Fits. So
I think that's what it was.
Account. So, we'll make sure to tag that in whatever we post tomorrow, which, like I said, we will make sure to tag C. Ruff and Timeout Sports Podcast. But now I think it's time. Let's get to the music break.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then we'll come back and we'll do the headlines and all that stuff.
And I'll have a shot ready for us.
He will. He better. I'll fire him. And then it'll just be me.
I'll fire you. Kick you out of my house.
Yeah, that's right. All right. He's got a good point. We are in his house. Technically, he's got more pull than me. But we appreciate you guys sticking around. Like I said, if you haven't, make sure to go follow C. Ruff. That's C.RUFF. His name's also Chris. But make sure to go follow Timeout Sports Podcast on all things social media. Make sure to check out WNBA Fits to get all the latest news on all the WNBA fits that all these stars are wearing into the games. But right now, it is time for the music break. And this week, as last week, we have still yet again, that would be Crypt Keeper. from Denver, Colorado, buddies of ours, of course, buddies of the band, the Born Readies, my band. So the name of this song is Reaping the Benefits, which is off of the album The World is Dying and We're Reaping the Benefits, which you can purchase directly from their Bandcamp, cryptkeeperdenver.bandcamp.com. Stick around if you're watching the live stream. You are about to hear our intro music, and this will be the last week we're doing that as well.
So jam out hard!
Jam out hard to our intro music on repeat, and we will be right back.
We're going to make a lot of money, and we're going to spend it.
To the bank as people die. The world is dying. We're reaping the benefits. The more you suffer, the more profits rise.
Back for the second half of Fringe Fanatic Sports Podcast. You guys just heard Reaping the Benefits off of The World is Dying and We're Reaping the Benefits, new album from CRYPT Keeper out of Denver, Colorado. If you guys are digging what you're hearing, by all means, go to their Bandcamp, cryptkeeperdenver.bandcamp.com, and make sure to purchase their album directly from them, or buy some merch, or find out where they're playing, and go see them if you're in town, by all means. But we are back. We are going to get into the headlines right now, but first, it is that time where we take the shot at the turn, which I don't know if I've said that in a while. Shot at the turn.
Maybe we did last week. I thought we did a shot at the turn, but
we always do it, but I haven't said it in a
while.
while.
It's nice because we went the whole January without drinking, but now it's like every week, so we're back to normal, man.
Yeah, we're back to being drunks.
Yep.
Cheers to you, sir.
Cheers. Thank you, CRYPT Keeper.
We also purchased some Zids, which you can't see in the light. It's very bright. Zids. Chad didn't like them.
All right, it's gonna take some getting used to.
He wasn't a fan of them. I put another one in just a second ago, and then when I came back, I spoke weird because it was in my lip. So,
yeah.
It's either way,
ride.
Zins are a wild ride. We got the 3 milligrams, and it's probably a good thing that we did.
Yeah,
Chad,
my tolerance for nicotine. It's not.
He was like
high.
sitting over there, and you could tell he was like going through something. He's like
feeling all fuzzy, like microdosed. I feel like.
No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. I'm just working through something over here.
I'm glad it passed. I'm good to go.
Pass. You spit it out.
Yep.
We're back. I'm kind of wishing I wouldn't have put one in because it's making my mouth water a lot. But we're going to keep going. I'm going to roll with it and see what happens.
Toss it out.
It is time for a headline.
Headlines! Get your headlines here!
That's right. It's time for headlines. And this week, much like every week, we are going to start with the NFL. There's not that much news in terms of headlines, but there is one thing rolling around that's kind of crazy.
Free agency, so it is pretty wild.
Not free agency, Chad. We're talking the presidency.
Oh, you're going to get to that, yes. It is an election year.
Yeah. It's an election year.
And if you people out there have a problem with
Very
Aaron
intense.
Rodgers, but there is a small, very, very small chance
Yeah.
you might have to deal with him being your
You
vice
might-
president.
Vice President Aaron Rodgers, as he is the leading candidate for RFK, Robert Kennedy, vice presidency-ship, which is wild. To
If he
even
does
say.
that, then I hope he makes like Theo the Secretary of State or something.
Oh, that'd be
I
great.
don't know
yeah.
how that would work.
Theo's the treasurer.
Put him in the cabinet. Yeah, because dude, Theo got invited to his birthday party, like 60th or whatever it might have been. But yeah, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Crazy that Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know if
This
I'd call
is
it.
where-
I guess it would be awesome.
No,
Because,
I meant awesome for Theo. No.
Oh, I just
totally
thought you meant
different
the whole
for
thing
Aaron.
is awesome. Like, yeah, it's awesome as in like actually like causing awe. Like, I can't believe this is the world
It's
we
pretty
live
nuts.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, needless to say, that's about all I have in terms of the headlines for the NFL, aside from free agency, which we are going to get into right now, and that is going to take up a good chunk of the headlines because there has just been so much happening. If you follow NFL on ESPN or any app,
If you have your alerts turned on for
Turn 'em off.
Sleeper, ESPN, NFL Mobile, your phone has been blown up over the last 48 hours.
it's just been nonstop, just
It's been
constant,
crazy. Man.
Yeah,
I
insane.
just do you feel like it was this nuts last year? I don't feel like it was like this. I mean, it was crazy, but not this crazy. But you know why? More money,
more money.
more problems.
No problems.
Yep.
$30 extra million. That's
right.
And we've got deals on deals on deals. The running backs are back this year,
That's
apparently.
right. They're all over the place.
They were dead for like 5 years. Now they're back.
Yep, they're
getting
valued.
top dollar.
They're getting paid good.
And there's a lot that has been happening with the running backs, and we're about to get into it now, but we're going to start right now. Chad's going to take us to his we're doing top 10 free agents signings this year. We each picked 10.
I kind of ranked him as far as like most notable ones, I guess.
Okay.
There really wasn't too much thought into the ranking system, but to me, the ones that might have the biggest, I guess the best way to define this, the biggest impact on their new team. Number 1, Kirk Cousins, Mr. Guaranteed, Kirk Guaranteed Money Cousins, goes to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Atlanta, and 4 years, $180 million.
Yeah.
100 guaranteed. And I just want to give you a quick rundown real quick of what Kirk Cousins has made in his career. Are you ready for this, Chad?
He's racking it up. Let's hear it.
Contract signed by Kirk Cousins. In 2012, he signed his standard 4-year rookie deal, which
Yep.
was the standard back then. In 2016, $19.9 million fully guaranteed.
Franchise tag, right?
Yep. 2017, $23.9 million fully guaranteed.
Franchise tag.
Yep. 2018, $84.0 million guaranteed. 2020, $66 million fully guaranteed. 2022, $35 million fully guaranteed. And in 2024, $100 million fully guaranteed. Through his career, $411 million
Holy
in contracts. Just wait. $329 million in his pocket. Guaranteed money.
From Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
The guy that's won one playoff game.
Yeah,
That's
he's played in
insane,
4.
man. That's
and
just
he's won
crazy.
1.
I'd say his agent needs to just get like an Olympic medal or something like that. I don't know.
He should, and
that's insane. No agent is able to get that. I mean, but we're worked out because, like we talked about at work today, Kirk bet on himself on those franchise tag years, and it worked out.
It was like 2 years in a row.
Think so, yeah.
And just dominated and made the franchise tag work in his favor. And dude's just racking up the money. Moving on in quarterbacks again.
I just wanted to mention real quick, I think we could see a resurgence from him if his Achilles heals up well, because Raheem Morris is the new head coach of Atlanta, who also was on the staff with Kyle Shanahan when Kirk was throwing and just like lighting up fantasy stat lines when he was on Washington. Yeah. So could it possibly happen again? We shall see. Sorry.
We shall see.
That's
But I was moving on to another quarterback, Mr. Mustache himself, Gardner Minshew, signed by the Raiders. I think it's $15 million guaranteed over 2 years. He will probably be competing for the starting quarterback job with Aiden O'Connell.
With the other half mustache man.
With Farva.
Yeah,
they're going to have the State Patrol quarterback room in there.
You might be the first one to make that joke. That's fucking funny.
The old State Patrol
State
QB
Troopers,
room.
Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You know they're dirty cops if they're Raiders.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, so Minshew's going to get a chance to go against his buddy who called him a little boy a bunch in one of the games against the Raiders, Max Crosby.
Oh, that's
if you
right.
remember correctly.
I forgot about that.
Yes, so,
they're gonna have to mend the fences a little bit there.
Maybe he'll call him a little man now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you remember when
funny.
Max Crosby played the Colts and Minshew was in at quarterback, every single time he went by Minshew or touched him, Max Crosby has a big thing of like always contacting the quarterback, even if it's just after the play, just like, I'm here, bitch. And for Minshew, it was little boy. And for 4 or 5 plays, he's like, little boy. And Minshew, there was like a good NFL mic'd ups thing where like he goes and sits on the bench and he's like, Max Crosby keeps calling me a little boy. Like, I don't know how to deal with that. And it's like,
he's a trash talker.
Crosby's one, dude. He's in your head. Because
Yeah.
I think, too, I'd be like, I don't get why he's calling me that.
Or
Like,
keeps
it's
touching
kind
me.
of
Like, what is this about? It's like
He keeps
schoolyard
calling me
tricks,
a little
man.
boy. Clearly, I'm a man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm grown. Like, I'm not a little boy. So, like,
It's
it's
smart.
he's in my head.
He's like pulling a page out of old Phillip Rivers, you know?
Yeah. Dadgummit.
Yep.
You son of a gun.
All right.
So go to another one. Take us to another one.
Let's stay on the Raiders, where they just added a little help for Max Crosby. Christian Wilkins signs a big contract there. That's going to be scary. Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby on the same D line. I'm not excited about that.
Yeah, the Raiders are going to have a good defense. The big thing, though, is going to be what the offense is going to do.
The quarterback play.
Yeah,
that's
quarterback
right.
play is going to be a huge thing there.
You know the one we didn't write down? That just reminded me? Josh Jacobs to the
I
Packers.
have it.
You,
Let's
see,
go there
I
right
just- I
now,
stole it
Chad.
from you.
Let's go there
we
right
did
now. Josh Jacobs, thank God, has left the AFC West, where he has run all over my donkeys for years.
Yep.
Guaranteed you get Josh Jacobs in there against the Broncos, 100-yard game on the low end.
Yeah.
Sometimes like
Helped me win my
220.
fantasy championship a couple years ago.
So Josh Jacobs leaves the Raiders, and he goes to Green Bay for a 4-year deal with worth $48 million. I haven't heard the actual logistics in terms of the guaranteed money, but according to somebody in Green Bay, they I guess kind of comped him to Eddie Lacy in his prime before he put on all the weight.
That's a good comparison.
So we'll see how well that works out for Green Bay. If he can, well, not to interrupt you,
No,
but
you're
if
going.
he can keep up what he's been doing, and you add a dynamic running game with just like a bruiser like Josh Jacobs, Green Bay is going to be scary.
Dude, they
next
have
year.
a stable of wide
They're
receivers
going
there.
to be scary.
People underrate them for how good their wide receivers are because they don't have like a true like star like Jamar Chase, but all of them, man, all of them can catch the ball really well. But let's stay on running back. Huge news today. We all kind of saw it coming. We hated it. It was like the dark cloud storm coming through, and then eventually is real. Derrick Henry to Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, it's
I really wanted him to go to the NFC. I really did.
one of the best rushing teams in the NFL now gets one of the best running backs in the last 10 years, probably, in terms of just power. Also, one of the few NFL players who's completely vegan. And
is he really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like one of those people who like goes against the norm because everybody's like, "Oh, you're vegan. You're all weak and skinny or fat." Usually, because it's like that's usually how it goes with vegan. Like all the vegan stuff, either you eat really good or it's like replacement shit, which just like makes you fat. But Derrick Henry, vegan and also just a beast of a human being.
Oh, that's gonna be scary next year.
So and I forgot what his deal was.
I didn't write it down.
I was trying to write those down just to at least mention it. 2-year contract worth up to $20 million. We'll see what goes on. I think I saw. Gus Edwards went to the Chargers. And J.K. Dobbins might be leaving as well.
Yeah,
so,
I would imagine. I mean, he's been plagued by injuries, so
yeah,
this sucks. But he's probably gone.
Let me take us to the next one, though. Sorry, Juice was writing, and I wanted to respond back to him. All right, so to the next one. This was a big one, and we kind of mentioned it when C. Ruff was on, but Patrick Queen jumps ship from the Ravens
to the rival,
and goes to the ultimate rival, one of the biggest rivalries I think in the NFL.
I think it's probably one of the better ones, definitely.
Joins the Steelers for 3 years, $41 million. Also, one of the better quarterbacks, one of the better linebackers in the NFL. Great coverage linebacker, always around the ball.
A great spy linebacker.
Yeah. So great for the Steelers. Especially you combine him with Watt over there, and oh my god,
yeah, that's what they need. I mean, they got Mika Fitzpatrick, but he's only getting older. And games when TJ Watt's not in, they're shelling themselves, so they definitely need more.
But I mean, you just look at it now. You go line TJ Watt, like the linebacker core, Patrick Queen, and then like you just mentioned, that safety. They've got,
and then they got what's his? Damn it, he was the son of the old Steelers. Joey Porter Jr. is there too.
Oh
in
yeah,
the backfield.
fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
he's the other.
He had a really good year.
Or no, he's a cornerback. Yeah, I forgot.
Yep.
But yeah, that's cool to see. Interested to see what the Steelers can do, especially with. We'll go there right now. I know you mentioned this one earlier, but you kind of stole mine.
Oh yeah,
I'll mention it since it's the Donkeys.
Yeah, Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Russell
I'll
Wilson.
let you talk about it, man.
I believe his cap hit for the Steelers is $950,000.
Oh my god!
They're getting a top 15 quarterback for 1.3. Like that's the amount, but like I just said, $900 and some $1,000 is the cap hit. Kenny Pickett. I mean, nobody in the Steelers is saying Russ has a job. He's going to have to compete for it, but I don't see how he doesn't beat out Kenny Pickett. And I hate to say it, dude. The Steelers haven't had a losing season, and I can think at least Russell Wilson gives them 2 more wins.
I would
so
imagine.
What are they going to be? 10-17 or 10-7?
Everybody's sleeping on it, man. I mean, in like what C. Ruff said earlier too. I feel like he got the wrong end of the stick with the Sean Payton thing. Imagine, those deep balls that he threw out to Sutton, and Jerry Jeudy sometimes, but like there were glimpses here in Denver. But what he's really good at doing is throwing that super high arcing deep ball. Who do they got on the Steelers that's great at catching deep balls? George Pickens.
Yeah,
we'll get into it a little bit later. Deontay Johnson did get
he left.
I think it was a trade actually today. I could be wrong.
I'd have to look, but I'll look that up.
I mean, dude, George Pickens is one of the best wide receivers at catching jump balls. So I think there's a real potential. I hope they give a run for their money against the Ravens and Bengals because I'm tired of the Chiefs playing those guys.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, don't be surprised if the Broncos kick off the season versus the Steelers like last year with the Seattle. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see that happen. We'll go real quick, like you just mentioned. Deontay Johnson traded to the Panthers for cornerback Dante Jackson, and they're swapping picks as well. Looks like the Panthers are getting a 7th-round pick, and the Steelers are going to get Dante Jackson and a 6th-round pick. So they did kind of lose another wide receiver, but watch them go and grab a guy in
They're
the draft.
really good at drafting wide receivers. Tomlin has a real eye for that, or their GM, whoever does that. All right, let's go back to running back Saquon Barkley to Philly. We brought this up a little bit earlier with Ruff, but this is super scary. I think if nobody's heard the drama between him and Tiki Barber, it's kind of been hilarious. One could argue Tiki Barber has the right to say that and everything, but I mean, he could have also been the mature guy and just not said anything.
It wasn't a good look.
No.
And what are you going to do? The guy's done nothing but try to be a giant, and then they've done nothing but not give him a chance to succeed.
I don't blame them. I don't blame him one bit for wanting to go. I applaud him for going to a divisional rival in this situation, because the Giants pretty much gave him the middle finger by being like, oh, you're pretty much the core of our team, but instead we're going to pay the Duke quarterback Daniel Jones, who, say what you want, but he is not worth $35-40 million.
Well, and there's a lot of rumblings in New York that they know Daniel Jones is not the answer.
That's what I hear. Let's move to the next one.
Next one. DeAndre Swift signs a 3-year, $24 million deal, $15.3 million guaranteed to go to the Bears, which, like you just mentioned, Saquon basically replaces him, and the Bears get a decent kind of I guess you could say he's like a Swiss Army knife. He's very good at receiving out of the backfield, and he can, run between the tackles as well. So the Bears make an upgrade there, and like we were talking about earlier, it's the whole entire draft is hinging on what the Bears do. The Bears basically hold the keys to how the draft is going to fall.
That's true.
They could easily take Caleb Williams, and this all makes total sense. Or they could just trade back, keep Justin Fields, and just build around him, which this DeAndre Swift signing kind of you could see going either way.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. They've been sitting on this decision for a while. A lot of people are criticizing him for not pulling the trigger on what they're going to do now, but the clock's a ticking.
Yeah, no, it's always a ticking. Take us to the next one.
All right, we got Geno Stone to the Bengals. And this one doesn't please me very well. The Bengals always give the Chiefs a good run for their money. They've been really needing to build their defensive backfield after losing Jesse Bates last year. And Geno Stone was a key piece of why the Ravens had such a good defensive backfield last year.
Yeah.
So, kind of scary acquisition there.
Definitely. And one that happened not too long before we got on Twitch here, Danielle Hunter, or however you want to say it. Daniela Hunter goes to Houston, 2 years, $49 million, but $48 million guaranteed. So, yeah, 2 years, $48 million.
This one kind of surprises me because if you look at Danielle Hunter's and then who was already on the Texans, Grenard, they pretty much had the same numbers, and Grenard was kind of wanting the same money that they just paid Danielle Hunter, so it's almost like they just kind of would prefer to have more experience, I guess.
Sometimes with those things, though, you always wonder if it's just like a change of scenery is better for both parties.
Could be.
Just send them somewhere else. Start over.
Hunter was good on Minnesota, so that could be good.
I got one more Homer one, and then we should probably move on just with the time we're at.
I'm down.
Brandon Jones, safety, signs with the Donkeys, 3 years, $22.5 million, $12.5 guaranteed. This isn't really like a splash in the water. But the Broncos going into free agency, everybody was like, I don't know how they're going to do anything. And they managed to free up almost $30-some million in cap space. This guy is not going to replace Justin Simmons. And there are all signs pointing to Justin Simmons signing with the Eagles, which will make that defense even that much more scarier. You got the safety with the most interceptions since he came into the league, going
30.
30. Chad can't get over it.
It's a lot.
But he's no replacement for Justin Simmons, but Justin Simmons does deserve to go get a chance to go win. I think the Broncos did him solid in that because that dude's been a perennial, just like all pro.
That was a good move.
Pros pro, great in the community.
3-year Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, good to see him get that chance. But Brandon Jones, I hope he does well. He didn't do great in the first half of the season, but the last few games with the Dolphins, he was very productive. So the Broncos didn't have much splashes to make. They did a lot of readjusting contracts. But
all right, I will do one homer pick and then we'll move on. I just wanted to mention this because it did come across actually right before we started recording.
I was going to bring it up.
I got to because I just appreciate. I remember when we drafted him. Fucking Willie Gay, man, Willie Gay.
Oh. This is not where I thought you were going. Willie Gay. Continue.
Where did you think I was going?
I thought we were going to talk about Patrick Mahomes reworking his deal. Anyways, continue. Willie Gay's gone.
Yeah, Willie Gay goes to the Saints, joins the Honey Badger, other ex-Chief. I just wish Willie Gay, the same way with Justin Simmons, the same way you feel about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't near the type of caliber of player, but Willie Gay helped us get 2 Super Bowls. I mean, he was a stud since he came and walked on. I remember me and Samir were just begging for them to start him over Sorensen for so long, and when they finally started playing him over him, it made such a big difference. And ever since then, he's been a star. He was the one that really made the difference on the Bengals game when he was like, play swag surfing. And then after that win when we took over that Bengals game, the rest of the season's history. So thank you, Willie Gay.
Thank you for the Chiefs Super Bowl this year.
Best of luck to you. You heard it from Chris.
Yeah. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ. We've been hanging out too long. We did that earlier, too, with C. Ruff.
Yeah.
Let's move into the NBA. We could spend all night on the NFL. I love the music in this scene.
It's so good.
Well, we brought it up a couple weeks ago, but Karl Anthony Towns for the Timberwolves had a meniscus injury. He just had surgery on said meniscus, and he will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. It sounds like he could be back for the playoffs, but who knows how effective he will be.
They've been slipping a little bit.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Let's. We're just gonna get into they're gonna be playing the Clippers tonight. The T-Wolves, I think, are. We're gonna get into the standings here in a little bit, but they're
in third,
slipping a little. Big test tonight in LA against the Clippers, who are 41-22. I just want to mention, look at this. The Thunder are down 8 right now to the Pacers. That's good for the Nuggets.
No,
just a little
we could
quick
use that
because
what are we?
I think we're tied for second.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, let's keep going with injuries. Steph Curry sprained his ankle over the weekend. Chris said that he's sitting out tonight versus
the Mavs. He will be returning to practice. It sounds like Friday.
Sounds like just a mild ankle sprain.
Well, we know he's had bad ankles since he came into the NBA, and if you watch that Steph documentary, I think it was on.
I've been wanting to watch that. Yeah, you told me about it.
Something. Either way, go check it out. It's a very good documentary, and you learn a lot about just the trials and tribulations he went through just to get to the NBA, let alone changed how the NBA is played. But he's dealt with ankle injuries for a very long time. It's like one of those things where I guess his body just wasn't built right in the ankle area.
Seems like they'll be back, but they are in a tough spot because they are in a play-in spot.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're going to make it to the play-in this year. Yeah. They could be on the outside looking in.
Very likely.
So we'll see how that plays out. They're, like you just said, they're playing the Mavs, who've got Luka, who's just fucking going off right now, but it's easy to go off when there's really nobody else on your team, and they're just kind of like, let Luka score 37, 40 points, whatever it is, and then nobody else is going to do anything, and we'll still win. So, while I think if they had a better team, I do think Luka would be way higher up in the MVP conversation. But I think they're just so bad. People are like, just let Luka score.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter because nobody else can score even remotely close to him.
And he just refuses to play defense. So he's fine.
Doesn't
winning.
play defense. That's why come to the Nuggets. You don't got to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll teach you how to play defense.
Yeah. Or you don't
got
have
to for Malone.
Well,
No,
yeah,
you got
you're
to
right.
for he's
You're
a
right.
defensive
Malone will
coach.
get mad.
Yeah. But yeah, so Luka just recorded his 7th straight triple-double. He has been balling.
Yeah, and I think most of them all are in like the mid-30s in terms of scoring.
Yeah, they were 6 straight of 30-point triple-doubles, and then it just snapped last night, but he still got a triple-double.
Yeah, still a triple-double. But
Yep.
another big news, the Kobe Bryant statue was unveiled, I believe it was last week. And now that it has been unveiled, there have been a few things coming out about it in terms of the misspellings that are on it. So
Not a good look.
There are several errors etched in the marble base of the statue, including Jose Calderon and Von Wafer's names misspelled in the replica box score from Bryant's 81-point game between the Lakers and the Raptors, and a formatting mistake on another side of the base where Bryant's career accomplishments are listed. So kind of a shitty thing to have happen after you roll out, you're one of the best players in your team's history, and there's like little issues like
Spell
that.
check is important.
Yeah, spell check will get you. I've been, being designers, and we have in the past, there is that point, though, when you're designing something and you quit looking at the words as words, and it's just part of the design.
Or like symbols.
Yeah, it's just like, just a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then you don't even realize it.
Yep.
Working in the tattoo shop, this is why tattoo artists say, you look at it and tell me it's spelled right, because then it's on you.
Yeah.
So,
Gotta double check it.
Yeah, you gotta double and triple check, especially if it's going permanently on your body.
True.
But that's all I had for the NBA. Should we run down the standings, or do you got something
I
else?
wanted to mention we can't forget our Nuggets over their big win
Hey!
over the weekend. Or I guess what was that when they beat Boston?
Was it
Why can't
Friday or Saturday? No, it was Friday.
Yeah, it was Friday. No, it was Thursday.
It was Thursday.
It was Thursday, yeah.
Saturday
But
was
it was
the other one, yeah.
Yeah, so they have now taken the number 1 spot in the power rankings because they get the season sweep on Boston. They won both times this year, in Boston and in Denver.
And the crazy thing, they beat Boston only shooting 4 3-pointers.
They're like making only 3, 4.
Making, sorry. They shot more than that, but they made 4, which
But
is still nuts.
I think really what I took from it is, dude, Porzingis cannot even come close to guarding Jokic.
No, Porzingis is one of those guys who doesn't really play defense,
Yeah.
and that was kind of his issue. Aside from the fact that he had a ton of injury issues over there with the Mavs, but I do feel like going to Boston, where he isn't expected to be like a main core piece, has been beneficial for him. But yeah, no answers.
No, it was almost embarrassing.
Yeah.
That one time Jokic kind of powered into him, and then Porzingis just went flying. You almost felt bad for him for a half second. Then I was like, fuck yeah, go.
That could have been borderline.
It could have been
charging,
charged,
but
But it was also it could have been
been a flop?
flop too, because he didn't really touch him that much.
So yeah,
Let's run down the
Jesus Christ, we
standings.
gotta quit doing things together at the same. That's 3 today.
We're in sync, bro.
In sync, dude.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
All right, I'll take the Eastern Conference and you take Western
Okay,
Conference
go
this
for it.
time. Boston Celtics, of course, first to 50 wins this year, 50-14. They're 8.5 games up. That's crazy. Of the Milwaukee Bucks at 42-23. Then you got the Cleveland Cavaliers at 41-24.
Sneaky team of the year right there.
They really are. Once Donovan Mitchell, I'm not sure if he's back yet. I don't think he
I don't
is,
think
right?
he is,
yeah,
no.
but once he comes back, I'd really be watching for them. Then New York Knicks, who are beating the hell out of the Sixers tonight, 37-27. And then Magic are just a half game back from the Knicks at 37-28, and then the Sixers at 36-28 at 14 games back, who very good chance. I mean, the Pacers are beating the Thunder tonight. If they win, they'll take that 6th spot and avoid being in the play-in. So Sixers got to get shit going.
The Sixers, there is a slight possibility they could miss the playoffs.
Just losing the play-in, that would be awesome.
Which would be
so
nuts.
happy about that. Man.
That would be nuts.
I would be
but
thrilled.
Another thing too. What was I gonna say? There was something I was gonna say. Now I just fucking forgot it. I did want to ask you though, and I've heard a lot of people talking about this. The Boston Celtics, if they were in the Western Conference, where do you think they'd be right now?
Oh, that's a good question. You'd like totally throw off geography or anything like
Nothing
that.
like
Hypothetical.
Just hypothetically, they're in the Western Conference right now.
Throw out the record because if you use, I mean,
But you can't look
let's
at their
just
record
say
because they play mostly
the eye
Eastern.
test. Yeah, let's just say the eye test. I'd say you put them at 2 or 3. I'd say they're probably that good.
I think they'd be neck and neck with the Nuggets right now.
Because the Nuggets drop a lot of games early in the season, and then they finally were like, okay, let's turn it on.
Yeah, but it's just crazy, though. Like you just mentioned, dude, they're 8 games ahead of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
In the East, which is the only other team really that I think in the East could make it all the way to the finals. So you got 2 teams, and the Celtics, if they were in the West, wouldn't even be number 1.
That shows you the juggernauts in the West, man.
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
I mean, people,
number 1 right now.
Let's just throw out a
that
team
is
that
insane.
everybody forgets about in the West that are, I think, let's see, 6th in the West right now. The Phoenix Suns. Wait, if that team can get Beal, Booker, and Durant all healthy, I mean, they got Nurkic too. I mean, we saw it on the overtime loss, dude. If KD can hit shots and be even a glimpse of the old KD that we know, and then Booker's just regular Booker, that team's scary.
Yeah.
So it's shit. The West is,
and that's 6.
That's just it. Is in the West. I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers or Suns made it to the finals. Or even the Mavs, if the Mavs could play some defense. Yeah,
it is wild. But let's get into the West, and then we're going to keep cruising. So the West, number 1, Oklahoma City Thunder, the surprise of the year, over even the Cavaliers, 45-19, also the youngest team in the NBA. Then you have the Denver Nuggets sitting in second, 45-20. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves falling down. They were in first last week, now sitting at 44-21. The Clippers in fourth, 41-22. The Pelicans in fifth, 39-25. And just Chad just mentioned the Suns in sixth, 38-27.
Yeah.
It's just a lot harder over here in the West, man.
The top 3 really remind me of that first NASCAR race of the season where it was just like a photo finish.
Just all of them.
Lightning McQueen. But that's
Dick
the
Trickle.
NBA for you.
Yeah. Let's hit the NHL, and then we got to cruise. We're cruising for a long episode again. So... All right, it is time to get into the NHL, and the Georgia, or Atlanta for that fact, may have a team soon, as an Atlanta group, the Alpharetta Sports and Entertainment Group, has formally requested an expansion franchise be brought to the city for the 3rd time. The NHL has been thinking of expanding yet again after they brought in the Kraken and not too long ago the Golden Knights, who have been a perennial playoff team since their inception. This would be the 3rd time that Atlanta has had a team. They were previously home to the Flames in 1972 to 1980, who eventually moved to Calgary, and then they were also the Atlanta Thrashers from 1999 till 2011, who eventually moved to Winnipeg to become the Jets. So it'd be cool to see. I definitely remember the Thrashers back in the day when the Avs were winning all of their Stanley Cups and whatnot. It was right around that time that the Thrashers were incepted into the NHL. Atlanta was a good place. There does need to be kind of one or more of those in that area. So I would like to see it happen. But we'll see what happens. We were talking about the WNBA earlier. Expansions are happening. The NFL is going to expand soon, probably over all the way to Europe. But excited to see Atlanta get another one. I would like to see, in terms of expansion teams, I think the Supersonics need to come back in the NBA.
Be cool. Yep.
But if the Thrashers or whatever they're going to be called can come back to Atlanta and bring hockey back to the deep south, so to speak, I do think that would be a good thing to have happen. So we'll see how that pans out. But right now, it seems like Atlanta is the next home of an NHL franchise.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
NHL's growing. It's getting better every year.
Yeah, thanks to TNT, they're now finally doing well on the TV side of things. So
Turner Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right.
Take us to the next one, Chad.
Matt Rimpe It's like the new Bash brother, pretty much. Just get
He
suspended.
is the Bash brother.
Left and right. Suspended 4 games for elbowing Devils Jonas Singathilaire. I am not good with that name.
I love it.
Yep. That we're going to go with that.
I'm going to look at it and see if I can get better. But Jonas.
You just type in Matt Rimpe elbow, it'll come up, and he straight up cocked this guy right in the chin with his elbow. Can't go to the head like that. But the reason why this is a severe 4 games is because he is a troublemaker.
Siegenthaler.
Well done.
It's pretty close.
That's a hard word for me,
It
man.
says those those just Eastern Bloc names are wild.
Anything longer than 8 letters, I'm going to have trouble with. But, yeah, so I think I heard on PTI earlier, I'm probably going to butcher this, but I want to say he started in played in 57 games this year, been put in the penalty box 54 of them.
Yeah, he is. If you haven't yet, go check out The Goon, featuring
Sean William
Scott. This guy is The Goon. He's a rookie, and he's been in fights. Dude's had a black eye, I think, since he started.
Probably. And he's 6'7", 242.
Yeah.
He's like the size of a D-end out there on skates.
So then you got to think,
around.
dude, he's 6'7" on skates. He's over 7 foot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's huge.
Or close to it.
Probably close to it.
But, yeah, he's been just fighting anybody and just everybody. He actually, I think he fought, Curtis McDermott got traded to the Devils from the Avalanche, and he said he offered to fight Rimpe at one point for that hit on Bastion, but Rimpe declined, I guess. So he kind of bitched out there. But he hasn't bitched out that often because if you look at his face, he has been fighting regularly, and he finally got suspended for it after just dropping an elbow on some guy.
And he's only a rookie, too. So
Yeah.
he's like coming into the league to like fuck shit up.
Yeah. He's like, we are here to fuck shit up.
You got anything else in NHL?
NHL, it's not NHL, but it is kind of a cool thing. We've been talking a lot about women's sports, so we're going to talk about women's professional hockey. Molson, they're over there in Canada, the Molson. If you ever thirsty, go ahead and get yourself a nice
beer.
cold Molson there from Canada. They become the primary sponsor of the Professional Women's Hockey League. And the cool thing is that they made the decision to place their logo where the name bar is, which you'd think, why does that even matter? They drop the girls' names to the bottom of the jersey. Again, why does that matter? Well, most of these chicks have been growing up rocking ponytails.
Oh.
Their hair has covered their names for the majority of their careers. So Molson comes in and they take over and they're like, all right, we're going to put our name at the top and drop their names to the bottom. And they roll out the slogan, we covered our name so hers can be seen.
Well, good move.
Look at that, dude.
That's cool.
That's
Nice.
marketing for you.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a cool thing and one of those things you don't ever really think about. Like, I guess, yeah, most of the time, jerseys have been, made for men. Since the beginning of sports, more or less, since men primarily played them, and the names have always been at the top. And you don't really think about the fact that, like, women's basketball players, women's hockey players, their hair has been covering their
never really
name
thought about that.
for the majority of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure sports announcers, that makes their lives a little bit easier.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, I think 71. I got to look at my
looking at the number every time.
McGonagall. But so it's something you don't really think about. But again, pretty cool. I do really like the slogan. We covered our name so hers can be seen.
That's cool.
But yeah, cool to see and glad to see them. Breaking down barriers that we didn't even know existed because we're ignorant.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that's all I've got in the NHL. Let's go down the standings really quick. I'm just going to hit the leaders in each division. In the Eastern Conference, in the Atlantic Division, we have the Florida Panthers sitting at 65 games played, 44 wins, 17 losses, 4 overtime losses for a grand total of 92 points. Moving to the Metropolitan Division, we have the New York Rangers, 64 games played, 42 wins, 18 losses, 4 overtime losses for a grand total of 88 points. Conference. Moving to the Western Conference, we got in the Central Division, the Dallas Stars with 66 games played, 40 wins, 17 losses, 9 overtime losses for 89 points on the total there. And then finally, to wrap it up, in the Pacific, we have the Vancouver Canucks, 66 games played, 42 wins, 17 losses, 7 overtime losses. Chad's watching videos over there for a grand total of 91 points. And the Canucks, I believe, are slightly behind the Panthers. So the Canucks had been the best team in the NHL for the majority of the year. They did fall off there a little bit, and the Panthers have been cruising right along. I wanted to get into some of the free agency acquisitions of the NHL, but we are out of time. Next week, I will touch on that, and we'll do a little bit deeper dive into the NHL now with the playoffs. We're on the precipice of the playoffs. So we'll touch on that next week for sure. And now let's get into F1.
Let's do it.
F1. Well, as you can hear, they're racing. And that was the field of the F1 where you would not hear Max Verstappen as he wins again. 13 seconds ahead of teammate Sergio Perez in second, and a grand total of over almost 19 seconds over Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari as he winds up in third. But there's been, more... I don't want to get into all of it, but there's been a lot more drama in Red Bull as the female staffer who Christian Horner was under investigation for the illicit text messages has now been suspended with full pay, which makes you feel like, just go away and take your money. And
that's what I thought. When I saw the headline, I was shocked that she was the one to get reprimanded, basically. Like, that's how we're going to deal with the problem.
Yeah.
F1's a little different than America.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're already seeing that with some of the stuff we talked about last week with the chairman of F1 now being under investigation for maybe, having a little bit of influence on how a race was dealt with, things like that. But another big thing is the engineer for Max Verstappen, Helmut, what is his name? Helmut Marko, has now kind of come out and had issues with Red Bull, and now it's like it's Verstappen's crew versus Red Bull and Christian Horner now, and it's like, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
Could we see the end of Verstappen at Red Bull, or could we see the end of Horner at Red Bull? What's more important, winning or Red Bull, I guess, is what it's going to come down to.
It's a big clash of big egos, it sounds like.
Yeah. People have got the penis measuring sticks out, and everybody's stretching as much as they can.
Yeah.
But that's all we have for F1, unless you had something else you want to mention. What was the kid who...
Oscar
Piastri
finishes fourth. Yeah, the new up-and-comer for McLaren. Who's
yeah.
Doing all right.
In seventh, though, the other Ferrari driver had an appendectomy, and they had a rookie come in, and he finished in seventh.
Oliver Behrman.
Yes, yeah. Oliver Behrman.
Englishman.
Finishes in seventh in his first F1 race, filling in for, what is his damn name?
I know it. I can't think of it either, but he filled in at Ferrari.
Carlos Sainz.
Oh, that's
Carlos
right.
Sainz Jr. So Oliver Behrman filled in for him. He had an appendectomy this last week and had to miss the race, and he ends up finishing in seventh, which is pretty wild.
Pretty
honestly.
damn good.
Yeah. If you follow Drive to Survive or what's it called?
The Braun?
Braun, yeah. Any of those, I mean, to finish in the top 10 in F1 is like a monumental thing. It is insanely
Only
hard.
The best cars and the best teams finish in the top 10.
So good on him. Great to see somebody just come in and have, a good effect like that, especially in a situation like that where you're just filling in for somebody. That is all we have for F1. Do you have anything for college basketball? We kind of touched on it a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little more as March Madness gets closer.
I did want to touch on one thing real quick. As the DU Pioneers right now, most of the time you hear about hockey with the DU Pioneers as they are perennially in the Frozen Four in hockey. But right now, the men's team, I'm trying to see what the score is. They are currently playing right now, and they have a chance to make it to the Final Four for the first time. I believe there's only 32 teams in the qualifying teams left that have not made it into the Final Four or into the March Madness.
Into the dance?
Yes.
Yeah.
And DU could do that with a win over San Diego State.
That'd be impressive because San Diego State's almost always in there.
Yeah, let me see here real quick. DU Pioneers NCAA men's score. I thought it started at 7:30. Oh, it literally did. South Dakota State. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes
so
more
they're
sense.
playing the Jackrabbits at home. It's 0-2 in the first half. So it literally just started.
Yeah, just tipped off.
If DU wins tonight, they could make it to the dance for the first time. So big shout out to them. And now it is time for Mr. John Daly to hit it hard, man.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, living large. I hit it hard.
That's right. Each and every week, we hit it hard, and so does the Daily Dose of Excellence. And this week, we have a little bit of a special one. It's kind of old, as it did happen right after we recorded last week. But Jason KELCE did retire, and he will probably go down as one of the greatest sinners of all time in the NFL. But that is not the main story here. I mean, it was a tearful press conference.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Travis was very emotional watching his brother retire. And, you know, you see all that going on, but there's an underlying story that, you know, I didn't even know about until after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, apparently Jason KELCE has had the same trainer since he came into the NFL. I'm trying to figure out what his name is. Joe Appella, yeah. Joe Appella was Jason KELCE's trainer for the majority of his career and had taped him for almost every single game that he played. That was what he did for the 13 years of Jason KELCE's career, and he ended up coming down with cancer and wasn't able to be the full-time trainer last year just due to dealing with going through chemo and all that stuff. And he wasn't able to be there for Jason as he had been in the past, and these guys had basically become brothers.
Yeah,
he's
really
he's like the third KELCE brother almost in a sense. Jason went to his wedding. I think he went to Jason's wedding. Like, they've been really, really good friends. It's one of those things, especially a lineman. I feel like you're almost always in the training room.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're getting taped or you're just constantly injured as you are in an accident, a car accident, almost every single play. So you build a bond with these guys. And Appella had just, you know, hadn't been able to be there for him with the cancer stuff going on, and he wasn't able to tape KELCE in his final game. And it came down to the press conference, and KELCE kind of just reached out and was like, you know, do you want to tape me one last time, more or less? And Appella came over and taped his ankles for the press conference.
Even though he didn't
got
need
taped
it.
up, dude.
Yep,
you know?
he got taped up. Yeah.
You could sprain an ankle walking up them steps.
You never
You
know.
never know. You
Yep.
got, you know, it's a little dusty in there. You can't see good. You roll an ankle. God forbid.
Very ceremonial, and just the thought that KELCE would have to do that for him really says a lot. So it's almost like this is a shared DDOE for both Jason to take the time and have the thought to do that for Joe, and then for Joe to be such a good guy and, you know, going through all of this, you know, hard time, battling cancer, and still be there for his teammate. You know, these guys are brothers, so hats off to them.
Yeah, and it's just cool, you know, like we kind of talked about it a little bit with Ruff earlier, but the reason we get into sports, and I've kind of tried to explain this to Merrill more than a few times, it's like, it's not just sports, it's the stories. It's the storylines involved in sports that, like, you don't even really think about, but, like, I think that's, like, kind of what we always kind of, you know, hit on in terms of, like, our friendship was, like, we're always talking about, you know, the stories of sports,
right.
like the underlying things. And I think this is like a perfect example of like one of those underlying things that like you don't even think about, like trainer and like what Jason's done for him and what he's done for Jason and back and forth. And like for this guy to, you know, basically, I think it's in remission. I'm not entirely sure. I want to look more into what his cancer is going on. But just to be going through all that, and for Jason to be, you know, at the precipice of his career and ending it, and to be like, dude, just come tape my ankles one more time, you know, like cool. For old time's sake.
I bet he was more than happy to do it,
and especially since he, you know, he had to miss it in the NFC Championship game. He couldn't be there for that, and then. Yeah, it's just cool to see, and it is one of those things where you're like, it's the friendships and the stories that are created, and that's where our friendship came from, you know, sports and working in the kitchen.
Giving each other shit on the Chiefs and Broncos, man. That's what it could be two rivals like that.
Exactly.
But when it comes down to it, it's just a game. It's all about the brotherhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sisterhood.
And no matter what, even though the Chiefs have won the majority of the times that we've gone to the games, we're still buds the next day.
Damn right.
And cheers to that.
Cheers to Joe Appella.
To friends and family, Joe Appella, Jason KELCE. And all of our listeners. You guys are our family, as always. Cheers to you guys.
It's been fun. Love you. Thanks again, Ruff, Chris Ruff, Timeout Sports Podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Yes. Thank you indeed. We appreciate it greatly. Make sure to go and give him a like and a follow. And we will be back next week, episode 75.
Yep. 3/4.
3/4.
That's right.
We love you guys. Make sure like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. If you're watching or listening to us right now, rate us 5 stars and leave a review. We'll see you guys next week. Love ya.
Farewell.
Toodles.